Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai. I want to give double honors to the apostles of great millstone that rule well. Salutations to the Archeum that pushing this word in sincerity and truth. His markers are from Trade.com. Just want to do a little edification, right, for the sincere brothers, for the elect out here. Alright. I think yesterday I was just playing around with some words and I decided to look up the etymology of the word skeptic. Alright, and when I went into it, I decided, probably I should just do a video, to share what I discovered through the Spirit of the Most High. Alright, this is etymology dictionary.com. When you look up the word skeptic, it means member of an ancient Greek school that doubted the possibility of real knowledge. Right? From Middle French skeptique, and directly from Latin skepticus, the sect of the skeptics. So skeptic actually was a name of an ancient school or college back then in ancient Greek. Alright, but let me see what these skeptics did. It says from Greek skeptikos, plural skeptikoi, the skeptics, followers of Pyrrho. And this was the guy who actually started the school. It says noun, use of adjective meaning inquiring, reflective. So basically being skeptical is actually inquiring something or searching things out for yourself. Alright, not being how to say like zombies, like the men in IUIC just running with wherever they hear, but actually going into something to search it out for yourself and not being just a mockingbird. Alright, it says the name taken by the disciples of the Greek philosopher Pyrrho, who lived in c. 360 c. to 720 BCE, related to skeptistai, to reflect, look or view, see scope. Skeptic does not mean him who doubts, but him who investigates or researches, as opposed to him who asserts and thinks that he has found. So yeah, the skeptic is the one who actually goes into a word and research it and investigate it, alright, and to come to the conclusion, to come to a better understanding, and as opposed to him that actually just sit back and just being spoon-fed and believe that he have found everything. But it's better to know than to be uncertain of. Alright? So that is really skeptical world. These skeptics, that is what the kind of person they were, the kind of mentality they had, actually going into words, just like the apostles taught us. Go into words so you could gain a better understanding of what the scripture is saying, a more profound understanding, a more, how to say, a deeper understanding of the scriptures, so to speak. Alright? Instead of just brushing the surface, but dig into the scriptures. Alright? Hence the reason men still getting tripped up over Cornelius being an Israelite and the microchip being the mark of the beast. Because why? They wasn't being skeptic in the sense of going into words and precept upon precept, but they rather just run with wherever they hear. Alright, that is why we call the men in IUIC and all these other camps, call them zombies. Because if they had that skeptic, that mind of a skeptic, they would have actually went into the scriptures. First of all, the Most had to be dealing with you for you to have that skeptic mind. Another word I would use for skeptic is sagacious, an attentive mind. Alright, to go into things. Just like Solomon had a mind that he searched things out. He wanted to know things. But when you just sit back like a sluggard, just being spoon-fed, guess what? You actually just fall for anything because you stand for nothing. Alright? So just want to go into some scriptures real quick just to back up this claim. It says Acts 17 verse 11. It says, these were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind. Yeah, we all receive the word with all readiness of mind. Alright? But upon receiving the word with all readiness of mind, we actually went into the scriptures to just like these men. It says, and search the scriptures daily whether these things were so. And other translation, when they go in, it says they examine the scriptures. All right. So now, let me say that we were those men that just sit back and just being spoon-fed and never went into the scriptures to prove these things were there. The scripture said a man slipped by his tongue but not from his heart. A brother could misquote a scripture, and you go out quoting that scripture that was misquoted, and then somebody asks you to show the scriptures, and then when you realize that the scripture was misquoted, what you're gonna do? You're back against a wall. Alright? Sometimes a brother might give a breakdown on a scripture, or probably bring some research, and you never really went into the research to validate what the brother said. And guess what? You go on referring it to someone, and the person say they ain't seen it, and then you there look like a fool because you can't find it, but the evidence is really there, but you just never looked, so you're gonna know how to find it. Alright, because why? You wasn't being skeptic, you didn't have that investigative mind to go into things, to look up words. Alright? You didn't have that mind. Alright? Just like when you look up the word Egypt. Alright? You will hear brothers say the word Egypt synonymous with the word bondage. Now you might look up the word Egypt on the blue letter, and you might see land of the Copts. Now you might tell somebody that it means bondage, and you never went into the word. And when that person now goes and look into the word Egypt, they will see land of the Copt, and they will say, well, you was lying, because I ain't seen nothing here that means bondage. But when you go to the etymology of the word Egypt, Tazayam means what? To bond. Alright? And ma in front of a word means of. So it's of bond, of bondage. That is how you come to the conclusion that the word Egypt synonymous or means bondage. But if you never go into these things, if you don't have that skeptical mind, guess what? You will never be, as Apostle Gabar says, a dragon in this thing. You will always be a parrot or a monkey, a mockingbird. And that is the mentality the men of GMS being taught to have, that skeptical mind. Alright, beginning with the Apostle Taha all the way down, teach us to have that skeptical mind, a mind that will always go into words to look up things. Just like these men here, the men of Berea. The men of Berea are more noble than they of Thessalonica, because why? They searched the scripture daily to see if those things were so. Now let's look up the word search. We see what our word search means. Alright? Now it says here, examine, judge, ask question. Not just sit back and just, can't. No, you ask questions, especially if you don't understand, you ask questions. Alright? Coming down here, it says examine or judge, to investigate. Just like skeptic, to have an investigative mind, that you're searching the scriptures and you want to prove for yourself that these things are true. So then when you yourself being asked questions, you could prove it the same way. Alright? The best teacher is not the person that the best teacher is the person that understands what they teach. Alright? When you understand what you're teaching, it becomes natural. You could actually teach it in a different way. In a way that one brother might teach it and somebody might not understand it. You may be able to bring it in another direction and edify that person. That is when you understand exactly what you're doing. Alright, but when you just being a mockingbird, you don't really have much understanding, and therefore you only have one flow, and therefore evidently you will run into a brick wall. Alright, it says examine, inquire into, scrutinize, sift, question. So these men questioned the scriptures, they scrutinized, they went into it. Alright, salvation is only for the nation of Israel. Alright, let me go into this. Let me make sure. Let me make sure we're standing. Alright, most I hate the so-called white man. Alright, let me see the scriptures. Why? Why do most I hate the so-called white man? Why the so-called white man is our enemy? Alright, Esau is the so-called white man. You come to these conclusions by what? Being taught it and doing your own research and going into the scriptures for yourself. Now, if you never go into the scriptures to prove that Esau is the so-called white man and he's our enemy, the enemy of the Most High, and he's gonna be destroyed forever. If you never go into the scriptures to prove this and you go out teaching this, and somebody asks you a question because that person had a skeptic mind and you don't know how to prove it, guess what? You're gonna look like a fool. That is what the scripture said. Wisdom is too high for a fool. He opened not his mouth in the gate. So you had to have that skeptic mind, that mind of a skeptic, a mind that actually investigating things, a mind that digs into things, not being a zombie like the men of IUIC. Apostle Taha never taught us to be zombies. Alright? It says what? Specifically in a forensic sense of a judge to hold an investigation, and that is what the Lord teaching us to do, to be judges. Alright? To be judges. When Solomon's first act of judgment was what? With the baby. And what he did, he actually used his wit. He actually used that skeptical mind where he went into investigating, to inquire, and use that sagacious mind that the Lord gave him to judge, and the Lord teaching us to be judges. So to be a judge, you can't just be a mockingbird. You actually gotta be a leader in this thing. The apostles ain't teaching us to be just mere followers, but the apostles are teachers of teachers. Yeah, that is what the apostles are. The apostles of Great Millstone, Apostle Tahab, Apostle Rakab, Apostle Gaban, Apostle Aramlab, and all the elders all the way down. These men are teachers of teachers. They're teaching us to be teachers. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 2. Things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou unto faithful men, that they may teach others also. So the apostles of Great Millstone are teachers of teachers. Alright? And that is how the word being spread, by teaching us to teach. It says what? To interrogate, examine the accused or witnesses. So you had to interrogate. You had to, the apostle, you hear the apostle say something on the video, you pause the video, you look into the scriptures, you make sure that it's there, alright, good, you highlight it, you go into the words, so you get a more profound understanding of what the scriptures saying. Instead of just being a mockingbird and just repeating and regurgitating, we're here. You gotta have that mind of a skeptic. That is why the men in IUIC and GOCC, all these other groups, they're going off. That's why they go. That's why they're bugging out, because they just sit back and it's just can't. That is all you hear, can't, and just run it wherever they've been taught. All right. So it says what? It says to judge of, estimate, determine the excellence or defects of any person or thing. So you gotta be like these men of Berea. All right. To interrogate. Yeah, the apostles teach the true word, but guess what? Fulfilling this scripture in Acts 11:17, you're not going off, because even Apostle Taha said that go in the words, look up the words. Don't just run with where they say look up the words. All right, go over the studies. They say something about some research that they found. Look it up for yourself. Do the research for yourself, so you can be able to teach others also. All right. This says Proverbs 14 verse 15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. All right. And the simple will be what? If you want to take out the simple, you can replace it with what? IUIC, believe it every word. The men of IUIC, that is what they do. They believe every word. But the Prudent, and if we praise Prudent, they say, but the men of GMS look it well to his going. And that is the men of GMS. They actually have that mind of a skeptic, whereas they go into words so that they could, the apostles say something about our research, they go and look it up so that they can gain more understanding. All right, we look up this word when he says look it well. All right, it says what? To perceive or discern. All right, to discern, to understand, to consider. So the prudent man considers what he been taught. All right, so that he could understand. He discerns, he perceive, to understand, to know with the mind. So you don't just sit back. It says what? To observe, mark, give heed to, distinguish. The prudent man distinguishes right from wrong. He sifts the word. The scripture says the belly tried all kind of meats. All right, tried all kind of meats. Just like Apostle Taha did a video the other day when he said that his tongue slipped when he said that reincarnation and regeneration is two different things. All right, and the brother from Hasten is coming. He left a comment and he asked the apostle, well, if he could give him more understanding in this. That was a brother having the mind of a skeptic. All right, someone else might have said, all right, good, so it's two different things. But then the apostle came and did a video. He said he slipped by the tongue and basically it's the same thing. So that is the mind you gotta have, because a brother tongue could actually slip. So sometimes by you having that mind of a skeptic and you realize that a brother tongue slip, you could actually correct the brother respectfully. All right, you could actually correct the brother respectfully, saying, kid, you know, you just slip, and you can say, hey, Tawada. All right, but if you just a mockingbird, one man's slip could actually cause a wildfire. All right, and you ain't pick up on it just because you've been a mockingbird and you wasn't a skeptic. Look into words. Wherever you've been taught, go into it and do more studying so you could gain better understanding of it and gain more understanding on it and add on to it. Just like in Sirach, we said that he added onto the sayings basically that he heard during his life, basically, because it was his father and his grandfather and him that basically was compiling the book of Ecclesiasticus. All right, so he just added on to sayings that ancient men made, and that is how we are to be. We are to add on to these things. We are to be able to build up this house, build up the house of David. It says to have discernment, insight, understanding, and to have full understanding of the scriptures, you had to have that mind of a skeptic, a mind that actually what? Investigates, so you can have better understanding. It's like with a car. It's like with a car. Yeah, you see a car, you know the car could drive. All right, good. But if you understand how the car was built, then you will appreciate the car more. Then you will know more about the car. You will understand the car. If you understand where I'm coming from, you'll understand the car. By what? By going into things, you have a greater understanding. You have a better insight by having what? A mind of a skeptic and not the mind of a mockingbird. All right. Jumping down here is what? To show oneself discerning or attentive. To be attentive in the sense of you listen carefully to everything that's being said. All right, and you go into the words. To consider diligently, to teach, to instruct. Now guess what? To teach and instruct the right way, you have to apply yourself to gain that understanding. You gotta ask questions. And when you get the question, when you get the answers, then you research the answers. But above all this, as I said, the Spirit of the Lord had to be dealing with you. Alright? And these men, they keep saying that, oh, the men of GMS are men pleasers. Yeah, guess what? We are men pleasers. We are pleasers of men in righteousness. And we are certain that these men, the apostles of Great Millstone, being set up by the Most High, because why? Their works do follow them. Alright? Because guess what? If brothers didn't have that mind of a skeptic, that when the apostles, do these classes, if men didn't have the mind of a skeptic, guess what? GMS wouldn't be so great through the Spirit of the Lord. Right? But the apostles never raised us that way to be mockingbirds. Alright? They are teachers of potential teachers, as I said before. Alright? See the last scripture here. There's Revelation chapter 1 verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So it says what? Blessed is he that readeth. Blessed is that man that readeth. Alright? That readeth for himself. Not just the man that just sit back and just listen. Blessed is the man that actually goes into the scriptures. Now let's look up the word read. Alright? Alright? Says what? To distinguish between, to recognize, to know accurately. To know accurately. And to know accurately, you have to have a mind of a skeptic. You can't just be saying and just listen. You have to go into things. You have to go into the scriptures. You have to go into the words. You have to go into the research. Alright? Guess what? How forbid if the apostles, let me say the apostles was teaching that the Lord is only for the 12 tribes of Israel, but according to the scriptures it wasn't so, then you would have been running with it and it would have been going off. But then guess what? When you go through the scriptures, more and more you get more and more confirmation, precept upon precept, that what the apostles teaching is true. And that is why. That is from what? From being a skeptic and knowing accurately. When the apostles teach that the new moon is the beginning of the month, the first day of the month, precept upon precept, you begin to know accurately that guess what? They on point. Cornelius is a Hebrew Israelite. Precept upon precept, you know accurately by being what? A skeptic. And these how you be able to grow. This how you be able to grow. By what? By being a skeptic and not being just how to call it? Being a mockingbird. Alright? You gotta be able to what? To distinguish between. So you gotta go into the words, go into the research, go into the scriptures so you could get a more profound understanding of what being taught so that you could also teach. Alright? And that all going back to this one word, skeptic. Alright? Him who investigates. Alright? It says him who investigates or researches. And that is the mind we are to have as being men of the potential and hopefully elect. Alright? So with that, I hope it was edifying. Alright? Hope it was edifying to the elect. And until next time, I say, all praises to Yahweh Shemel Shai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, salutations to the sincere Akim, members of the hopefully elect. Shalom.